Every story has a secret. Some should have stayed buried. The truth hides in the dark, and once you hear it, you can't unhear it. This is Midnight Hour Files, hosted by Dee Dee. Welcome to the Midnight Hour.
In this episode of Midnight Hour Files, we dive into one of the most disturbing true crime cases in American history, the Manson Family Murders, based on Helter Skelter, the best-selling true crime book by Vincent Bogal. This story unpacks manipulation, control, and a series of brutal killings that left the nation in fear. What led a group of young followers to commit such horrific crimes under the direction of Charles? And how did these murders forever change Hollywood and American culture? If you want to read the full story, check out the link in my bio. As an Amazon associate, I earn from qualifying purchases. Welcome back to Midnight Hour Files. I'm your host, Dee Dee. Before we begin, if you enjoy true crime stories like this, make sure to follow and like the podcast. It helps more than you know and supports the channel. And if you want to go deeper into today's case, check out the link in my bio. Tonight's story is one of the that sends chills decades later. It's a story of Manson family and the brutal murders that shocked the world. In the late 1960s, America was in the time of change. Peace movements, counterculture, and rebellion against authority were shaping a new generation. But hidden within that movement was something darker. And at the center of it was Charles Manson. Manson wasn't what most people would picture as a typical killer. He didn't personally commit most of the murders. Instead, he controlled others, manipulated them, and convinced them to kill for him. Manson gathered a group of mostly young followers. Many were vulnerable, searching for meaning, belonging, or purpose. He gave them all of that, at least on the surface. They lived together in a commune-like setting, often isolated from the outside world. And slowly, Manson became their entire reality. He controlled what they thought, what they believed, and eventually what they were willing to do. One of Manson's most disturbing beliefs was something he called Helter Skelter. This idea was inspired in part by songs from the Beatles. But Manson twisted the meaning into something far more dangerous. He believed a race war was coming and that his followers needed to help start it. On the night of August 8, 1969, that belief turned into violence. Manson instructed several members of this group to go into a home in Los Angeles. Their mission was simple: kill everyone. Kill everyone inside. That home belonged to actress Sharon Tate. She was 8 months pregnant at that time. Inside the house were several others, friends and visitors. None of them had any connection to Manson. They were simply in the wrong place at the wrong time. What happened next was brutal and deeply disturbing. The victims were attacked without mercy. There was no clear motive tied to them. Personally, only chaos, violence, and a message Manson wanted to send. The next night, the violence continued. Another home, another set of victims. This time, Lino and Rosemary LaBianca. Again, there was no personal connection, only random targeting and calculated brutality. At first, police were confused. There was no clear suspect, no obvious link between the crimes. But eventually, the truth began to surface, and it pointed back to Manson. Quick pause. If you're finding this story as disturbing and fascinating as I do, please make sure you're following the podcast so you don't miss future episodes. And if you want to read more details about this case, check out the book Helter Skelter, linked in my bio. It goes much deeper into the investigation and trial. As an Amazon associate, I earned for qualifying purchases. The investigation eventually led to police to Manson's group. But even then, it wasn't straightforward. Manson had built a system where his followers were completely loyal. Some refused to talk. Some others protected him. And many still believed in him. During the trial, the world watched closely. What shocked people the most wasn't the crimes. It wasn't the influence Manson had. Even in court, his followers remained devoted. Some even carved X's into their foreheads, a symbol of their loyalty. Mason himself was strange, unpredictable, and often disruptive. But behind that chaos was a calculated manipulator. He knew how to control people, how to break them down, and rebuild them into something else entirely. In the end, Manson and several of his followers were convicted. He was sentenced to life in prison, avoiding the death penalty due to changes in California law at the time. The Manson murders left a permanent mark on American history. They shattered the illusion of peace tied to the 1960s counterculture and exposed how dangerous manipulation and control can become. Even today, the cases raise questions. How does one person gain that influence? Why were these individuals so willing to follow? And could something like this happen again? The story of the Manson family isn't about murder. It's about psychology, control, and the vulnerability of human nature. As we wrap up, remember, cases like this are not just stories. They are reminders of how quickly things can turn dark and how important it is to question influence and authority. If you made it this far, thank you for listening. Make sure you follow and like the podcast so you don't miss future episodes. And if you want to support the podcast and learn more about the case, check out my link in my bio. For Helter Skelter, it's one of the most detailed true crimes books ever written. As an Amazon associate, I earn from qualifying purchases. Until next time, stay aware, stay curious, and I'll see you in the next episode of Midnight Hour Files. You can also follow me on YouTube and TikTok. Mahalo.
Some truths never rest, and some stories are never over. This has been Midnight Hour Files. Sleep carefully.